Number 12, Isaiah Bradley replicated serum. Trying to bake a cake without the original recipe usually leads to a mess, but for Isaiah Bradley, it led to a tragic kind of greatness. He was the victim of a government that was desperate to recreate Dr. Erskine's success, but did not care about the human cost. This version of the serum was crude and unstable, yet it somehow managed to pack a punch that actually rivaled what Steve Rogers could do in his prime. Isaiah was a literal wrecking ball who demolished a Nazi super soldier program single-handedly. On top of that, he did not need any fancy light shows to get the job done. He just needed his bare hands and a lot of justified anger. It's ranked last because it's the baseline for true superhuman strength and durability. The tragedy is that the formula was basically poison for the mind, slowly causing the brain damage and physical decline. He became a legend in the shadows, possessing the strength of a god, but paying for it with his own memories and future. I would say this is what happens when you prioritize the weapon over the person holding it. He won the war, but lost himself in a great power, terrible fine print situation. Number 11, Erskine Serum. Most people see this guy as the ultimate success story, but he is actually the most polite monster on the entire list. Dr. Abraham Erskine created the gold standard here, taking a guy who looked like a stiff breeze could knock him over, turning him into the literal pinnacle of human evolution. This is about more than just big biceps. The serum optimizes everything from the way his body processes oxygen to the fact that he literally cannot get drunk at a party. Steve Rogers can bench press 1,100 pounds, run 30 miles an hour, which makes him the most annoying person to follow on a treadmill, and what makes it even crazier is that his body continuously flushes out fatigue toxins, which is why he could fight for days while everyone else is looking for a nap. He beats out Isaiah Bradley's version because it's actually stable and comes with a side of tactical genius that does not rot your brain. However, it stays at number 12 because it is explicitly capped at human potential. Steve is the perfect man, but he is still restricted by things like gravity and bullets. He cannot lift a skyscraper or survive a nuclear blast, making him a very high-quality target rather than an invincible one. That's why the world's most perfect athlete is great until someone shows up with the ability to actually throw a tank at you. Number 10, Masterman's Nazi Serum. The Nazis were not exactly known for their restraint, so when they tried to make a super soldier, they skipped peak human and went straight to ridiculous monster. Dr. Ernst Schneider developed the Arion serum for Wilhelm Lohmer, a weakling who suddenly became a physical titan known as Masterman. Unlike Steve Rogers, who is just a very strong guy, Masterman was designed to be an intimidating powerhouse who could shrug off heavy machine gun fire like it was a light drizzle. He possessed a level of strength that allowed him to actually overpower Captain America in a fair fight. What makes it even crazier is that he could practically fly by using extreme leaps and a weird form of propulsion, making him a lot more mobile than the guys who just run fast. He ranks higher than Cap because he officially crosses the threshold into the truly superhuman, possessing toner strength that lets him lift things Steve can only dream of. The only problem was that the serum was tied to his ego and psychological state, meaning he was often too clumsy and or arrogant to actually win. He had the power of a god, but the tactical mind of a schoolyard bully, which is a great way to get punched in the face by a team of heroes. In other words, he's essentially a biological tank that forgot to install a targeting system. Number 9, Protocide Serum. Before the government found Steve Rogers, they practiced on a guy named Clinton McIntyre. And let me just say, the practice round did not go according to the brochure. The serum they gave him was like an unrated version of the super soldier formula that ignored all the safety protocols in favor of raw, unadulterated violence. It initially killed him by sending him into a murderous rage, but after being revived and tweaked by AIM, he became Protocide, a guy who makes Captain America look like he's standing still. He has all of Steve's abilities but turned up to 11, with speed and reflexes that make the pinnacle of human evolution look like a casual jogger. Rogers himself has admitted that Protocide hits harder and moves faster than almost anyone he's ever fought. This ranks above Masterman because it combines that massive superhuman power with the actual skill and agility of a high-tier combatant. He also sports a healing factor that lets him bounce back from wounds that would normally require a 6-7 weeks of hospital stay. He's basically what happens when you remove the moral filter from the super soldier program, which I think is a shame the military did not realize that super strength and uncontrollable anger are a bad combination for someone holding a weapon. Number 8, Power Broker Serum. If you have enough money and zero concern for your long-term health, the Power Broker is happy to turn you into a human forklift for a fee. John Walker, the man who would be U.S. agent, bypassed the whole government experiment phase and just bought his way into the 10-ton strength club. This process uses a brutal combination of chemical baths and radiation to pack muscle density onto a frame until a recipient can literally toss cars like they're made of cardboard. Unlike the subtle artistic refinement of the Erskine Serum, this is a blunt force instrument designed to make heavy hitters who can trade punches with mid-tier villains. On top of that, Walker does not just look strong, he has the bone structure of a sidewalk, allowing him to take hits that would turn a normal man into jelly. It outranks Protocide because it guarantees a specific measurable level of tonnage strength that puts the user in a completely different weight class, with him being able to lift 12 tons. You're no longer just the fastest guy in the room, you're the guy who can pick up the room and throw it at someone. The trade-off is a loss of that graceful cat-like agility that Rogers has, turning the user into more of a brawler than a martial artist. But I guess who needs tactical finesse when you can just bench press the entire problem into the sun, right? Number 7, Omega Red's Carbidonium Serum. Imagine taking a literal serial killer and giving him a serum that turns him into a biological vampire with metal tentacles, and you got Omega Red. The Soviet Union really outdid themselves here, creating a formula for Arkady Rosevich that works with carbidonium implants to create a total nightmare. He's not just strong and durable. His body produces death spores that suck the life force out of anyone standing too close to him. This death factor means he could survive indefinitely as long as there are people nearby to accidentally murder with his aura. What makes it even crazier is that his healing factor is fueled by the energy he steals, making him a self-sustaining engine of destruction. He ranks higher than the Power Broker because his power set's not just physical, it is conceptual and vampiric, allowing him to take down entire teams of X-Men by just existing near them. While John Walker might hit you hard, Omega Red makes your heart stop just by breathing in your general direction. He's a high-level threat that bridges the gap between a soldier and a supernatural horror movie villain. Turns out that being a super soldier is much more efficient when your enemies do the dying for you without you even having to throw a punch. Number 6, Power Man Process. Most of the entries on this list are about getting stronger, but Luke Cage is the one who decided that being unbreakable was the way to go. This process was a complete accident, involving an overcooked chemical bath that permanently altered Luke's cellular structure until his skin was as hard as titanium. We're talking about a guy who could stand in a hail of bullets and treat it like a light spring rain while his clothes get ruined. On top of that, his muscle tissue is so dense that he can lift between 25 and 50 tons, as you can see he's lifting a bulldozer here, making him a legitimate heavyweight in the Marvel world. This ranks above Omega Red because while the Russian vampire is scary, Luke is functionally invulnerable to almost everything a modern army can throw at him. He does not need to drain your life force to stay standing. He just needs to stand there while your fists break against his jaw. It's the most successful evolution of the super soldier research because it actually achieves true invulnerability. He moves the goalposts from hard to kill to do not even bother trying, which is a great way to save money on health insurance. He's a walking tank who could take a hit from a skyscraper-sized monster and ask if that is all they've got. It's a good thing he's a nice guy because trying to give him an unwanted flu shot would probably break both the needle and the nurse's spirit. Number 5, the Goblin formula. If you're looking for a serum that gives you a massive IQ boost and the strength to throw a car, but also makes you think wearing a green dress is a good idea, this is it. The Goblin formula was a lab accident that turned Norman Osborn into a physical and mental titan, giving him strength that rivals Spider-Man and a brain that can build interdimensional tech. It is a total transformative agent that rewires the user's biology, providing a regenerative healing factor that lets them survive being impaled by their own glider. What makes it even crazier is that the intellectual boost is just as potent as the physical one, creating a villain who is always 10 steps ahead of everyone else. It outranks Luke Cage because it adds genius-level strategy to superhuman power, making the recipient a much more dangerous overall threat. While Luke is hard to hurt, Norman is hard to catch, hard to outsmart, and has the resources to blow up the entire city if he's having a bad day. The obvious downside is the complete and utter loss of sanity, but Norman seems to think the trade-off for unlimited power is worth a little bit of laughing at nothing. But hey, who needs a stable mental state when you have a bag full of pumpkin bombs to ruin Spider-Man's day? Number 4, SO2 Serum. Most super soldiers end up in a suit, but Ted Sallis ends up in a giant pile of sentient swamp goo after his serum went through a magical blender. The SO2 serum was an attempt to bring back the Erskine magic, but when Ted injected himself and crashed into a mystical swamp, the chemicals reacted with the nexus of all realities. The result was the Man-Thing, a creature that is not even really biological anymore, making him functionally immortal and immune to anything as mundane as a bullet. On top of that, he has the burning touch, which means if you feel fear and he touches you, you literally burst into supernatural flames. This ranks higher than the Goblin formula because it moves past the limits of human science and into the realm of supernatural and interdimensional. Norman Osborn is just a smart guy in a suit, but Man-Thing is the guardian of the Nexus, a being with cosmic significance who can ward off demons and gods. He does not have a brain to manipulate or a body to break, he's just a force of nature that happens to be made of mud and ancient magic. It's probably for the best he cannot talk, because, not gonna lie, imagine hearing, "Whatever knows fear burns at the Man-Thing's touch." I'd say a pretty terrifying conversation starter. Number 3, Abomination Serum. When you decide that a normal super soldier serum is not enough and you want to chase it with a massive dose of gamma radiation, you end up looking like a giant scaly nightmare. Emil Blonsky did exactly that, and instead of becoming a mindless beast, he became the Abomination, a 10-ton lifting behemoth who kept all his spy training and intelligence. Unlike the Hulk, who has to get angry to get strong, Blonsky starts at total destruction levels and stays there permanently. He can leap miles at a time, breathe underwater, and trade punches with nuclear-powered beings without breaking a sweat. This ranks above the Man-Thing because while the swamp creature is a guardian, the Abomination is a living siege engine designed for a total combat dominance. He has the raw physical power to level a city block in minutes and the tactical mind to enjoy doing it. He is the pinnacle of what happens when you discard the human form entirely in favor of becoming a biological weapon of mass destruction. He's essentially a tank that can think, move like an athlete, and survive at the bottom of the ocean. Though what I think is a bit of a shame is that his face became chopped, but when you can bench press a mountain, you do not really need to worry about being conventionally attractive. Number 2, Gamma Formula. This is not really something you find in a bottle. It's more of a get hit by a nuclear bomb and hope for the best situation that rewrote the rules of biology. Bruce Banner's DNA was fundamentally changed by gamma energy, creating a transformation that is theoretically limitless because it's fueled by emotion. The Hulk's strength is not capped at any specific weight class. The angrier he gets, the more powerful he becomes, which is why there is no ceiling to what he can do. What makes it even crazier is his healing factor, which can regrow limbs and organs in seconds, making him effectively impossible to kill by any conventional means. This ranks above the Abomination because while Blonsky has a high starting point, the Hulk has an infinite end point, which he has held tectonic plates together and destroyed entire planets just by stepping too hard, which is a level of power that no other soldier on this list can touch. He is a force of nature that the government spent decades trying to control. He represents the ultimate realization of the super soldier goal, even if the result was a giant green monster that hates everything. Just try to avoid mentioning his haircut or anything else that might make him want to smash the continent you're currently standing on. Number 1, Golden Sentry Serum. If you took every other serum on this list, well, maybe except the Gamma one, combined them and then multiplied the results by 100,000, you would still not be close to the terrifying power of the Sentry. This serum was not just about muscle, it caused a molecular displacement that gave Robert Reynolds the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. We're talking about a guy who can rip a god like Ares in half, manipulate matter at a molecular level, and fly through the core of a star without breaking a sweat. He's not just a super soldier, he is a reality warping entity who can resurrect himself and move through time and space. This ranks at number 1 because it completely leaves the realm of peak human and enters the territory of absolute terrifying omnipotence. While the Hulk can smash a planet, the Sentry can rewrite the atoms of a planet so it never existed in the first place. On top of that, the serum created the Void, a dark, psychic shadow that is just as powerful as the hero himself. He is the ultimate product of the Super Soldier program, a being so powerful that his mere existence is a threat to the stability of the universe. Well, that's it for this one. If you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and ring the bell so you never miss a drop. Craving more stories from comics, movies, and beyond? Check out this video right here. Cheers and see you in the next one.